long time. I should have left you without a dope video to game two, game two, game two, game two, game two, game two. Chicka chicka chick. All right, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all back to P1553D Gaming. First thing first, I would like to take this time to say happy belated birthday to my boy Sear. I wanted to get this recorded last week on his birthday on the 22nd. That didn't happen, so I wanted to, I chose not to call him. I wanted to surprise him with a birthday shout out on the video. Like I said, I didn't get it out on his birthday. Getting it out now. Happy birthday, Sear. Love you. Now, moving forward, it's been a long time as I opened up the show with. It's been like 2 months. So I released something, released 2 things back in March. I missed all of April and almost all of November. I mean, excuse me, not November, but all of May. So I missed all of April. We're getting this out in May, so even though it's been like a 2-month spread, I only really missed 1 month of a video, so bear with me. So why have I missed 2 months? Well, this game came out called Elden Ring, and let me just say that my name is Pissed, and I'm an Elden Ringaholic. I've been playing that game pretty much non-stop. Get home from work, put it on, and just go with it until it's time to go to bed, to recharge, to go back to work. And I've been doing that, and on the weekends, Elden Ring from sun up to sundown, and it's just a wonderful game. You know, it's really my first Souls game, and you know, I was always kind of scared because I heard that Souls games are hard and this, that, and the other. I bought Demon Souls for the original, not the original PlayStation, but for the PlayStation 3 back in the day, which is the original Souls game, but I never play it. I bought it for the PS3, sat on my shelf, never played. So, and like I said, you hear how hard those things are, blah, 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 yakety smackety. Fast forward decades later, and this comes out, it catches the zeitgeist of the whole gaming community and everything like that. So I said, I'm gonna actually jump in and give it a good go. And I did. And it is hard, but it's been an open world game. Open world games I really love open world games. It's the exploration that gets it for me, and this game got exploration in spades. You start out and you go from just a lovely looking countryside with a rotted out church to forts to swamps to lakes to underground catacombs to underground cities to big giant ants. It's just got everything all wrapped up in one. I followed a guide on YouTube on this dude jumping. I had a quick start guide where you can get yourself kind of to a good point, like really early in the game, so that the bosses and you can survive. You still get your butt kicked, but you can survive, and everything don't just kick your butt right off the bat. As a matter of fact, for the regular enemies, you kick their butt, they're not a challenge no more, and this, that, and the other, which is good. But the bosses still present challenges and stuff like that, and it allows you to explore and find all the new stuff, find all the little things that you can find around the map. And like I say, you still gotta fight the different bosses and everything to get them. And yes, it's way easier than like if I start from like level 1 and like progress through the game, blah blah blah. But I'm here to have fun. I'm not here to beat myself against the wall, beat my head against the wall trying to get good to beat this boss that's like way overpowered. Cause even with me being overpowered, cause when you first start You just get a good weapon. You still have your same, you know, health and everything like that. So you can fight, but you still got to be very defensive because it can still take you out in like a couple hits. So did that for a while, but then it got exploits where you can get a whole bunch of experience to boost up your stats and things like that. But even when your stats are boosted, your survivability isn't still way up there because that's just the way the game is designed. You're not gonna really be able to just take a whole bunch of hits without specifically building your character towards that. But again, neither here nor there. That's what I've been doing. Just been playing a whole bunch of Elden Ring. So I think if I do start a new game, plus I'm might Twitch it or something like that. So be on the lookout. But other than that, let's see, as far as gaming news, it's kind of been of a lot. Gaming news. I wanted to make a video back when Sony first announced that they was merging their two subscriptions, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, and calling it PlayStation, well, it's still going to be PlayStation Plus Essential, PlayStation Plus Extra, and PlayStation Plus Premium. They're merging the two into 3 tiers. At $9.99, at $15, well, I just want to say $10, $15, and I believe $18. And what are they doing is PlayStation Now was a streaming, well, you can also download, but it contained their back catalog, and you pay a monthly subscription fee, which I think was either, well, I don't know what the subscription fee was. I think it was $10. But you would pay that and you have access to a whole big back catalog of PlayStation games from the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, I believe, and 4. And you go with it like that. I believe it never, I'm not going to say it never got off the ground, but I think it was somewhere around in the 3 million subscriber range of people that had subscribed to it or whatnot, whereas PlayStation Plus, which is needed for online play, has, we'll just say 50 million subscribers to it. So Xbox has their subscription program, Xbox Game Pass, and it's been getting a lot of traction. It has, a lot of old games, has a lot of new games. They put their new games in it on day one. Xbox Game Studio Games goes into it on day one, and it's been getting a lot of subscribers. And I believe the last thing that they said that they had was like 25 million subscribers, and that's in like 5 years or so. Whereas PlayStation Now has been out since like 2013 or something like that. And like I said, they had got around 3 million. So Sony decides, okay, well, let's do this. Let's merge the two together and put them together. And now they can, say that those, both those numbers and the 50 million instead of just the 3 million or whatnot. But that's not all they're doing. They are emulating the game, so they, you can do the rewind, the fast forward, well, not the fast forward, but you can do the rewind to go back to a certain point. Like if you missed a jump, just rewind it back a couple seconds, then you can make the jump and things like that. Along with some other things they are doing. So when they announced this, I was like, okay, cool. But the way that they're doing it is the Essential is basically the same thing you get with PlayStation Plus. For the $10 a month, you get online access. You get this select group of games that they from the PS4 basically the greatest hits that you can play. And that's mostly it besides some store discounts or whatever. And then with their extra, the middle tier, the $15 tier, they are allowing you to play mostly PS4 games. That's the tier that got like all the PS4 games, and you can download them, you can stream them, and play those or whatever. And then the highest tier, the $17 or $18 tier, is the one that got the PS2 to PS3, the PS1 games, I believe also some PSP games, and you can download some of them. You can stream some of them. For the PS3, you have to stream it. You can't download the PS3 games. And for the games that you have to stream, you can't use the DLC for those games because you're streaming from a server somewhere and it doesn't know that you have access to that DLC. So because they're using it for multiple people or whatnot, so they're not, you can't use the DLC if you're streaming the video games if you're already on, regardless of the fact. So this was announced, and right at the time that they announced it, I had also came in to PS5. So your boy's a PS5 owner now also, so yay me. So I was like, okay, cool. So I did some research because they also said that if you have PS Now, then you would be bumped up to PS Premium, PS Plus Premium. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let me, look into get me some PS Now, games, not games, but the cards so that I can, subscribe, put some time on my account or whatever so I can bump up to the premium when it goes live. And it goes, well, they just went live in like Malaysia or some of the Asian countries 2 days ago around there. And it's supposed to be coming to North America, Japan, and all them other things in June. So I was like, okay, let me do that. So I do some research because Xbox allows you to stack up to 3 years of Xbox Live. And I want to see how much you could stack up for PS Now. And when my initial research showed that it's unlimited. You can stack up as much as you want. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, I had just bought the PlayStation. I had just bought a new controller. I had just bought 2 games with it. So I didn't really have the money to, really just go buy a whole bunch of PS Now cards or whatnot right away. When it said that it was coming out in June, I like, okay, so I want to play online right now. So I'll get me the PlayStation Plus for 3 months. And then, I'll get some PlayStation Now and get that and add it to my account. And then in June when it goes live, my PlayStation Plus die off and my PlayStation Now will get upgraded to premium and I'm good for some years. Because like I said, Xbox Live allowed you to stack up to 3 years. You paid $1 and then it converted your Xbox Live over to Xbox Game Pass and you ain't got to pay no more for 3 years. I was looking to do the same thing with PlayStation. Sony had other plans. So like almost immediately after they made that announcement, they took away all the PS Now cards. The store stopped selling them. They stopped selling them on the PlayStation. You can't buy PS Now. Definitely not enough to stack it up for years and years and years. You might could get like a 1 month, 2 month or whatever, but you can't find the year ones no more. So I'm like, okay, man. Because at the time, a lot of people was looking at the thing and was, it was kind of negative towards the service. And I'm looking at the service and I skipped out on the PS4 generation. So there's a lot of games that's going to be on the service that I have not played. And So it's going to be a good service for me. So like I said, I was looking to stack up some time and jump in there and everything like that, and was actually wanted to put out a positive video for the service and everything like that. But with me not being able to get the cars to stack up the time or anything like that, couldn't necessarily do it. So now I had to wait and see what's going to actually happen with the service when it comes time to be able to subscribe to it normally. But the other thing, well, one of the reasons why I think the negative things was coming towards the service is before the PlayStation 4, excuse me, not the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5 came out, the Sony CEO was saying that, nobody wants to play old games. And, that was, one of the narratives that got picked up, about, Xbox Game Pass and, because they got a whole bunch of old games and then this, that, and the other. And, to a point you can see that, but because they only had like 3 million people subscribe to their old game subscription service. But the thing that I got, or that sticks into my head about, well, if nobody wants to play old games, why do you stick the old games into the highest tier of your subscription service? It's like you would want to, for your highest tier, you would want to put stuff there that people would actually pay for. And the old service, when they were split, you only had 3 million people that wanted to play for those old games or whatever. And now you're putting them together, and then you're putting those old games on top in the highest tier. It kind of seems to me that you might only get 3 million people to do it. Actually, I think it would be less. And to me, it's also kind of anti as far as choice, because just say there's a person out there that wants PlayStation Now but don't want PlayStation Plus. That person is forced to pay $18 now to basically get what he had before, instead of the $10 that he was able to get, because they merged the two together and then they put that one at the highest tier. So if that person did exist, which I'm sure there are some out there, that person, like I say, now they're paying $18 instead of $10, which sucks for that person. Now, the pricing thing, I say $18, but they actually have a couple different pricing things where the highest tier is $18 a month, but you can pay 1 year for $120, which basically brings it back down to like $10 a month, which is great. If you got that 120 to drop at one, wow, great. They got the 120, they got the 90 for the middle, and they got the 60 for the essential, which is basically still PlayStation Plus. Still $60 if you want to add the other one, the middle one, $30 more. If you want to add the next one on top of that, another 30 on top of that. Those pricing structures is great. But the month-to-month prices, not so much. So if you are going to do it, strongly encourage you to pay for the whole year to get the full, to the full benefit, or the most value for your bang for your buck. That's what we use. Get the most bang for your buck. And I believe that's what I'm going to be doing myself, is, either paying for the full year of the, I don't think I'm going to go for the premium. I think I'm going to go for the middle one myself, because the old games, they came out, at least in the regions, because there's people that's looking at the rollout or whatnot, and they putting out like the PAL version, the 50 hertz version instead of the 60 hertz version, which is also one of the things that Sony did when they released the PlayStation Classic. They had the PAL or 50 hertz version instead of the 60 hertz version of games on the PlayStation Classic or whatnot. And so, yeah, I'm just wait and see what's going on with that. The PlayStation 4 things, I think that's more up to date because it's HD and the whole, well, HD runs at 30 or 60 or whatever. The 60-50 rule or thing from the old analog days is not a thing with HD TVs or the HD standard. So you'll be okay on that particular front. But you have that. So that's what's going on with Sony and their rollout of the subscription services and why I have wanted to put out a thing. Oh, one other thing. Had I if I was able to, so stack years of PlayStation Now subscriptions, it came out that if you did stack the years of the PlayStation Now and you wanted to, no, not the PlayStation Now, it's the PlayStation Plus, because you can stack years of PlayStation Plus also, but that's the base tier. Now, if you want to move up to one of the higher tiers, let's just say we'll go with the Xbox version. Let's say if you stack 3 years of PlayStation Plus, if you wanted to go up to the high tier, because you already got 3 years of PlayStation Plus, you want to go up to the higher tier to PlayStation Extra, they want you to pay the full price up front, the difference between the PlayStation Essential and the PlayStation Extra. So you would need to pay 3 years of $5 a month. Basically, that's the difference up front to move up. So it's kind of a mess as far as that. And if you want to move up to premium, of course, that's even more. So people that did stack, it's kind of, being bent over right now. And it's kind of crazy. So that's the PlayStation Plus news with the new subscription service rolling out in June. But speaking of June, that is typically or traditionally it's like Christmas for gamers without being Christmas, because it's pre-Christmas, we'll say that, because that's when the E3 or the electronic expo. You know what, for some reason right now I can't think of what the 3 E's in E3 is. But it's E3, it's the trade show for different game companies that's showing all the games that's coming out this fall. And it usually usually happens in June, however, E3 has been canceled. But there are still companies that's still doing gaming showcases and things like that. Microsoft is one. They're doing theirs on June 12th. There are others. Jeff Keighley is doing a Summer Game Showcase or whatnot. And I don't think his is set to a specific day. I think it's set for a range of days that's around the same time as Microsoft's. And there's a PC showcase, an indie showcase, and things like that. I believe Sony may have just announced something also. So be on the watch starting right around June 9th and, on through the next week or so for what's popping up in the next 6 months or so. Well, if you want to see what's happening for the rest of the year, E3 usually also extends past that, tell you the things that's on the horizon so you can get excited for that also. And I'll definitely come back and let you know some of the highlights that I saw from whatever gets shown. So definitely doing a video in June. And so we'll go from there. One of the other things that's been kind of out there, well, bad news for Microsoft is that they delayed the release of two anticipated games. One of them highly anticipated because it's Bethesda's newest IP. Bethesda are the developers that created the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout series. Well, they created the Elder Scrolls and they took over the Fallout series. But they have a whole new IP that was supposed to release in November this year, and called shoot, so embarrassing. But star something. Yeah, I hate that, and I'm not editing it. So brain fart. Anywho, their new IP that was supposed to come out in November is being pushed about 6 months into next year. Same thing with Redfall, which was also going to be developed by them. And that was supposed to come out, I want to say, summerish to early fallish or whatnot. That also got pushed. So those were two of the main big tent poles that was supposed to hold up Microsoft and their AAA first party game offerings, and also give people a reason to continue to be subscribed to Game Pass for the day one game releases from Microsoft and this, that, and the other. So one of the narratives that's been popped up is Xbox got no games, and they're not helping themselves by delaying games that's supposed to come out. Although Game Pass got hundreds of games in it or whatnot, for some reason some people only look at the first party games. Regardless, whatever. Sony, one of the things that's been kind of wondered was if God of War Ragnarok was coming out this year, because it hadn't really been that much word on it and everything. Sony had Gran Turismo, which I had some stuff to say about that is kind of over with, so I'm not going to go into it. But Gran Turismo, they also had Horizon Forbidden West as the two things that they had. Those came out earlier this year. And God of War Ragnarok was hopefully supposed to come out later, but hadn't been no word, so people was kind of, questioning if it was going to make it or not. Well, it said that it got a rating over in a country, and I want to say South Korea, could be wrong, but it got a rating over in a different country, which means that most times that means that it's close to being released, because the game gives a rating when it's done, and then the people that does the different video game ratings can take a look, see what's in it, blah blah blah, and then they get a rating, and that gets slapped on the box so the parents can say, oh, this game is rated M. No, little Timmy, you can't have it. And then little Timmy goes over to somebody else's house and plays it and whatever. Anywho, but it got a rating, which bodes well for it actually coming out this year. People thinking it might be September, because someone said that's when God of War merchandise is going to be going on sale in September. So it could be coming out in September, but it's looking good that it's coming out this year, which kind of makes me want to play the God of War that came out on the PS4, because I have not played it yet, and prepare myself for God of War Ragnarok. So I may do that. Let's see. So we got that. Microsoft is still acquiring Activision. That's moving along. One of the things that's popped up. Oh, so remember when I was talking about Crystal Dynamics and how they're helping out Microsoft, develop a game, and that was kind of a strange situation. And I'm not sure if I said it. I might have said it, but it looks like they might be, grooming them maybe for an acquisition later on or whatever. Well, you can forget that because while Microsoft was busy with the Activision thing, Squaresoft decided to let Crystal Dynamics. They also let Eidos Montreal and Eidos, the other Eidos, let them go to the Embracer Group, which is a firm that buys up a whole bunch of video game developers and IP and things like that. Let them go for when compared to the Xbox merger acquisition of 69 billion. So they let them go for 300 million along with 50 IP. Went from Squaresoft over to the Embracer Group. So Crystal Dynamics is now being acquired by the Embracer Group. So Microsoft won't be getting them later on unless they buy Embracer Group or then get into some type of thing where Embracer Group let them go just like Square did. But people is also thinking that Square's like trimming the fat and is kind of thinking that Sony may be about to acquire Square. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. So that's mostly what's been going in as far as, no, that is not all that's been going on with acquisitions. Well, not quite an acquisition. EA, who is one of the biggest publishers out there, they're not being acquired by anyone right now, but they're shopping themselves around. They're saying that they're for sale. Them themselves, they said they've spoken to Google, they've spoken to Apple, they've spoken to a whole bunch of different people trying to get them to buy them. So Microsoft is still tied up with Activision, so they're not really one of the ones that's, there, but maybe after this gets tied up, or finished with Activision, if they're still hanging out there, Microsoft might. Who knows? Don't know. But yeah, EA is saying that they want to be acquired or merged or something like that. And that's quite interesting because we was thinking that Activision was a once in a lifetime thing. After Activision, EA is, I believe, might be the next biggest publisher. So 2 once in a lifetime things, happening. Don't know, never seen it before, but it's quite interesting. Definitely keep an eye on that EA thing and let y'all know what happens. But I think that's it as far as acquisitions. And I went over the acquisitions, I went over the subscriptions, I went over the games, the game E3. Found it, Electronic Entertainment Expo. Yeah, I think that's it. Electronic Entertainment Expo. That's what E3 stands for. And the game that Bethesda was supposed to be releasing in November, that got pushed back, is Starfield. See, my old brain is, it kicking in. It takes a little bit to, get that motor running, but it finally started cruising along. So yeah, Electronic Entertainment Expo and Starfield as the 2 things from earlier. But I think I touched along everything that I wanted to. I gave it good, I gave it bad, gave some little fillers out. So I would like to thank everybody that's been reaching out to me, asking me when the next video was. You guys, I know it still took me 2 months, but you guys definitely are great motivators and great, letting me know that you still out there, still want the content. It's still, it's a good thing. And like I said, I do thank everybody that did reach out asking when the next video was. Next one will not be as long as far as the delay in between. Like I said, I would like to get one out, you know, as these shows start coming out, and that's going to be in like 2 weeks or so. So definitely, if I don't check back before the middle of June, see me in the middle of June in about 2 weeks or so. So I think that's about it. Thank you all for catching another episode of P1553D Gaming. Have a great day.